another edition of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We are interviewing and following the journey of amazing entrepreneurs like Becky Norwood.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Becky?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
I work with...
Because, by the way, I love what you do. I know already what you do, but for everybody else that doesn't know, tell us.
I work with a lot of, especially business people, but really a whole cross-section of people to help them put pen to paper and tell their story of their life so that they can kind of leave a legacy. If for business owners, I work with business owners to kind of showcase their business. And so everybody has a different purpose in writing a book, but I know how to get them to be best-selling authors. And so it's really a lot of fun, and I actually have a lot of business owners that will write a book to showcase their expertise, and I use that book as a stepping stone. Instead of handing my card to you, I hand my book to you. This is my story. Tell your signature story, and then tell why you excel in where you are in your life.
Entrepreneurs in Fuego, the show that we have right now, it's about that. We're recording, though, in a very much short period of time.
It has to be.
It has to be the journey of entrepreneurs and why they do what they do. But it's that digital collection that we have, which is kind of equivalent as to what you're doing, of course.
It is
in a book format, naturally, in a much more elaborate way.
The thing that's different about me is that I start all of my authors from the beginning. Not just writing the book, but the marketing pieces. They need to start blogging. They need to do their social media. They need to do their videos. They need to start learning how to podcast, because anybody can publish a book, but in today's digital age, that book's going to get lost. I always call it getting lost in the cobwebs of cyberspace, unless they're doing the marketing and building lists, building the following, even for fiction books. If they've got a fiction book going or a children's book going, they can build an email list by keep putting it in the book. Say, if you want to get a free copy of this, enter your name and email, and then for all their future books, they're continuing the conversation. They send them an email. One of my friends that does exactly what I did, she has a whole fiction series, but because she has done the list building part, she has them to, hey, which character would you like to see developed? And that's the next book. And so it's just amazing, the things that can be done.
Not everybody's a good writer.
No, but there are people that can ghostwrite.
I was going to say, do you ghostwrite as well?
I don't ghostwrite. I have a team that I can refer out. I'm not an editor either, because I'm too busy. I don't have time to sit down and read a very long book, but I know how to kind of proofread and kind of get it over, then I hand it over to an editor. But another way we do it is just like you and I are doing, and then we take that conversation and get it transcribed, and that starts the beginnings. So somebody just terrible at writing, then we interview and we record it and then get it transcribed and then use that as the basis to get the ball rolling.
Are there stories that you didn't know about a particular client that completely just transformed you or impressed you or changed you?
Yeah.
Where you went, I didn't know that about that individual.
Yes, this is a gentleman, I just recently got him to bestseller, and he calls it a victory march. And he was as a child, he was a foster child, raised in a terribly abusive household. And he was also not well during that time. He had cancer as a child, and the abuse that he went through. But to talk to him, to see him, to converse today, you would never know. But it was such a story that kind of related back to me, because I had some experience in that way. And the way he expressed his words and the way he talked about it was like, I would have said used many of the same words, the same terminology. So it's truly amazing. Last week I had two that I brought to be bestsellers, and one was my 75-year-old aunt.
Oh my goodness. The way that your clients write the stories, do they write it in the first person or in the third person?
Depends on the individual.
Do they write it more on a Baldacci style? Do they write it more on a narrative style?
Each client is different, and you have to work with their gifts. Because the one author, he wrote it in the first person. This is my life. This is my experience. And those are powerful because that's a story that can, if I read it, I've experienced and I'm suffering with something, and I read that, those words hit my heart because it's coming from somebody else's heart. Other people, they want to do fiction or they want to do other types of things. So each person is so different. So it's what the fun of my business is the diversity of what I'm getting to experience through working with authors.
In working with authors, is there an optimal size of the story? Because some stories could be so long that you wind up reading the Count of Monte Cristo, or some stories are perhaps just too short, or 2 or 3 pages that are, wait a minute, you got to expand a little bit. Is there an optimal size for the story?
What we're finding is that there's a lot of people, like this gentleman, he wrote a almost 200-page book. But we're busy people today, and many of us are not going to sit down and read a long book, and especially if it's you showcasing your expertise. 50 pages is enough. That's enough. You can say what you need to say in those 50 pages. Then you build on it. You can add sequels to the book. You can add other pieces. You can build a product on it, training somebody how to do what your expertise is. So you build upon it. But each individual is so different, and this gentleman that I just finished working with on this, he couldn't have written this book if I limited the number of pages, because he had to get this story out. Yeah.
It is very therapeutic, I would imagine, for the authors themselves to tell the story. How did you get into this?
When the economy changed, I was raised in a family of entrepreneurs, and I had a saw sharpening business that I inherited from my dad and my brother. So I sharpened great big saw blades. I did chainsaw blades. I did every kind of sharpening. My dad taught me how to do this, and I was a single mom raising kids, so this was a perfect business so I could do that as well. Sharpening blades.
Wow.
And then everything changed, and my kids grew up and they left home, and I don't want to do that. I didn't think I was ever going to do a business like that. So I started branching out. What do I want to do with myself? So I started with a gift basket business. And that's a lot of labor. That's really labor intensive. Then I had a lingerie store. And just there were just so many things. Finally, I went to a class because I was trying to learn more about marketing my business, and I went to San Diego for some classes, and it just opened up this whole new world. And so
it is a great niche.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're going to come back and tell us, perhaps, or coach us how to write our own story.
Well, I do 2 things.
Yes.
So I either do help a person by doing all the marketing. I also teach a class, and it's called Journey to Authorship, and it's a 12-week course. Everything's online. I use Zoom. It's kind of like Skype, but you can see all your students. Everybody can see each other, and we go step by step through the process of writing a book. And then right from the start, I have them start blogging, and I have them start start up their social media. So I teach all the way through so that when they become, I kind of equip them to become self-publishing and know what they need to do, so they are empowered to continue on in that course.
Have you written your own story?
It's one story that's a hard one to write for me. It has quite something, but I already have it named and I'm working on it. I did write one book, but it isn't the book.
You're going to write the book, and you're going to publish it, and you're going to bring it to us, and we'll publish it over here, and we'll promote it over here.
Thank you.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You're fun, man.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I think everybody has a story to tell, and so it needs to be told, because how else can we leave our mark on the world? Agatha Christie, Napoleon Hill, all of these people that have long passed away from our earth, they're still touching lives today.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With words.
Mr. Perot is never going to die.
Right.
He will be the main character of Agatha Christie's stories forever.
Right. That's how it is.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And with that, we are out.